War never moves fast. It waits, it watches, and then it closes its jaws. Freedom has a price, and we were about to pay in blood. This is the part of rebellion that history forgets. The hallways where heroes die screaming, and the world keeps turning. Smoke rolls through the steel hallway like breath from a wounded beast. The sirens wailed overhead, a shriek so sharp it felt like it was tearing the world apart. Metal shuddered under the weight of distant detonations. Every step sent lightning through my legs. Valeth's mechanical fingers sliced through the darkness, silent commands guiding us. He moved like a spirit, like he wasn't entirely in this world anymore. Part machine, part man, part ghost. The corridors in places like this were never designed for escape. They were designed for slaughter. Funnels, choke points, killing grounds where bodies pile so high the living trip over the dead. Then came the sound that freezes blood, mechanized cadence, the sound of soldiers who feel no fear, no hesitation, no humanity. The skittery, cybernetic infantry bred for obedience. Eyes glowing like furnace coals, limbs reinforced with steel and scripture. Monsters wearing the shapes of men. My hands trembled, not from fear, but fury so bright it felt like electricity. Luchen's words still echoed inside me, poisoning every heartbeat. Valeth said, "No retreat, tight formation, aim for joints. Move on my mark." He was calm. He always was. The storm inside me wanted to tear the world apart. When the first bolt round hit the wall beside me, the world exploded in white fire and ringing silence. The corridor became a furnace. Sparks, blood, metal, screams folding into one sound. The first to fall was Rhea, smiling Rhea, who braided flowers into her gun strap, who believed we would one day plant gardens instead of graves. One bolt round tore her in half. She didn't even scream. I fired until my arms burned, until the weapon kicked like it wanted to shatter my bones. Every shot was a prayer. Every shot was a punishment. They didn't fall like people. They dropped to their knees and crawled, hands still reaching, guns still firing. Valeth's arms slammed through a skull with the sound of fruit being crushed. Oil and blood sprayed across the wall like black rain. We couldn't see. We fired at shadows. We tripped over corpses. The air tasted like metal and fire and death. Someone screamed behind me, a sound so raw it carved through the gunfire. I didn't look back. In war, looking back is death. Valeth screamed, "Move." I ran, not from fear, but because stopping meant dying. One broke through the flames, a demon of wires and rust, blade arms singing through the air. The blade skimmed my cheek, hot blood ran down my neck like molten metal. Valeth tore a steel spar from the wall and drove it through the machine's chest, sparks exploding like fireworks. The floor became a river, red, black, slick, treacherous. We ran through it like animals running from the slaughterhouse knife. There had been 20 of us, now there were 8. Every breath felt like swallowing broken glass. The pain anchored me. It kept me human. Lucian's voice haunted the silence between gunfire. Rebellion is disease. No, rebellion is cure. The Imperium is the disease. I remembered him sitting with children on the stone floor, teaching them words the Imperium tried to erase. Freedom, dignity, tomorrow. They stole him. They replaced him. I would burn the galaxy to get him back. Valeth looked at me. Not as a commander, not as a machine, but as a brother in blood and rage. The end of the corridor, a door between us and the heart of the fortress. Then the walls opened. Turret fire filled the air like a hurricane of metal. 2 more gone, ripped into red vapor. Valeth jammed his mechanical arm into the panel, sparks vomiting out like lightning trying to escape. Silence crashed down, sudden and absolute. A silence that rang louder than gunfire. We stood among the dead, breathless, shaking, covered in blood that was not ours. For a moment, I wanted to sleep forever. Just close my eyes and let the world end without me. Valeth kneels, lifts my chin with his metal hand and said, "Not yet, not yet." We were not done saving the dead. The gate groaned like an ancient god waking. Beyond it lay the command heart of the fortress, and the man who betrayed us. The pain hardened into purpose. The fear burned into fury. The grief condensed into a single blade-sharp truth. They will not break me. We were 6 now. 6 against a world. 6 was enough. I was done running. Valeth armed the breach charges, tiny suns waiting to be born. My heartbeat slowed, my breathing steadied. I was stepping into hell willingly. The light spilled through like dawn breaking over a battlefield of bones. We would carry their names with us, everyone. Their blood would not dry in vain. For Gamma, for Rhea, for all of us. Valeth steps beside me, metal hand on my shoulder, and said, "Forward." The Imperium wanted silence. We would give them thunder. The door clawed its way upward, screeching like steel dragged across bone. The light was wrong, too bright, too clean, like the light used to wash blood off floors. None of us fired. You don't aim at nightmares. There were hundreds of them. Men, women, children, bound in steel frames like broken statues waiting for repair. Their skin was pinned open, muscles glistening under the white lights. Blood turning black in tubes that pulsed with mechanical rhythm. Some moved, trembling like ghosts trapped underwater, mouths opening without sound. One pair of eyes locked onto mine, pleading eyes, drowning eyes. Eyes that begged for something no battlefield could offer. They were not soldiers, they were not criminals. They were taken, converted, recycled. The Mechanicus called this salvation, evolution, ascension. I saw mutilation wearing the skin of progress. Valeth froze beside me, his mechanical hand trembling like it wanted to tear itself free from his wrist. For the first time, I understood why he hated what he had become. In the back rows were children, tiny bodies stripped to bone, waiting to be rebuilt in the image of obedience. A half-converted girl whispers, barely audible, "Please." A word thinner than breath, the smallest word in the world, the heaviest. I wanted to collapse. I wanted to rip every wire from every body. I wanted to burn the galaxy for letting this exist. Valeth stepped toward her like a man approaching a grave he dug himself. The girl sees his metal arm, recoils, terrified. No, machine. She was more afraid of him than death. That broke something inside him. Inside all of us. I saw shame crush him like a collapsing star. One machine sang its final note, a flat hum that swallowed the room like a funeral bell. I approached another frame, an older man barely conscious. And us. 3 syllables heavy enough to break worlds. I thought I had seen war. I had not. War was not the battlefield. War was this. War was what happened to the innocent. We did not speak. We could not. Words were too small to hold the weight of what stood before us. Then we heard footsteps, slow, ritualistic, echoing like a heartbeat gone wrong. The tech priest leans over a restrained subject chanting Binharic prayers. Flesh is failure, steel is truth. He sang devotion while tearing a soul apart. The priest reaches for a surgical blade. He didn't see us. We were ghosts in a room of corpses. Valeth moved without sound, fury wrapped in silence. Steel met bone. The skull burst like rotten fruit. Blood splashes my face again, warm and nauseating. The blood was hot. Too hot. Like it came from something already burning. Valeth roars, inhuman and broken. No more. It was not a battle cry. It was a scream carved from centuries of suffering. We ripped wires from flesh, tore steel from bone, broke machines built to break souls. The lights shift to deep crimson, sirens blaring. The room dissolved into red, the color of endings. Some subjects slipped away immediately, bodies collapsing, like they had been waiting for permission to stop hurting. Others looked at us with gratitude so raw it shattered what was left of my heart. One whispers through blood-soaked lips, "Make them pay." We would. We planted explosives like planting seeds. Seeds that would grow into justice. For the ones they stole. For the ones we could not save. I activated detonation sequence. Mercy can take many shapes. Today, mercy was fire. We carry survivors out, alarms deafening. I looked back one last time. I wanted to remember every face, every body, every name stolen by machines that worshipped efficiency over life. Detonation timer beeping faster. Fire cleanses what cannot be healed. We run, sprint through white corridors fading into strobe-lit chaos. The blast swallowed everything. Machines, abominations, and the echoes of suffering. Shockwave throws us to the ground. My lungs burned. My vision fractured. But for the first time, I felt clarity. Valeth screams, rage and triumph mixed. The Imperium could take bodies. It could take names. It could take brothers. But it would never take our fire. Rebellion wasn't hope anymore. It was obligation. They wanted silence. We would become the scream the galaxy could not ignore. Valeth extends his mechanical hand, helping me rise, and said, "Forward." I gripped his arm. "Stands up." We began walking toward massive steel doors marked Central Control, Override. Blinding white sparks fall like snow behind us. A lone survivor whispers a final prayer. We stepped into darkness. The doors slammed shut behind us. No more cages, no more chains, no more silence. The dead are supposed to stay silent. War writes endings in blood, and the universe does not give second chances. But sometimes, in the quiet after slaughter, the dead speak again. And when they do, nothing stays the same. Every step felt like dragging the weight of a grave behind me. My body wanted nothing but to stop, to let the dark take me. That door was the threshold. Behind it, truth or death, maybe both. Valeth stopped suddenly, froze, mechanical ear twitching to an unheard signal, body rigid, metal spine locking like a weapon ready to fire. Then we heard it, a sound like a dying star whispering through broken machinery. Valeth turns toward a destroyed terminal, sparking violently. The Vox terminal flickered, half dead, bleeding sparks trying to speak. The sound grows, fragmented syllables. Sa, Sarah. My heart stopped. My lungs forgot how to breathe. I slowly approached terminal, terrified of hope. Hope is the most dangerous enemy. It strikes when you are weakest. Valeth touches control panel, rewiring through his arm. Then said, "Hold on." Screen flickers from black to snow static. The terminal fought for life like a drowning man clawing at the surface. A voice begins to emerge, broken, exhausted, unmistakable. "Sarah, Valeth." The universe shifted beneath us. I covered my mouth, tears already forming. It couldn't be him. It couldn't. Gamma 77 was dead. I watched him die. Valeth's expression collapses, disbelief and terror. Not with fear, but with something worse, recognition. Audio clears. Gamma's breathing heavy, failing, he said. "If you can hear this, then I'm not gone yet." His voice sounded like it came from the edge of death, because it did. He was the one who taught us to believe, to rise, to fight, to speak. Hearing him again was like feeling a heartbeat in a corpse. Gamma coughs violently, blood audible in the cum. I don't have long. I knelt in front of terminal, hands trembling, asking, "Gamma, where are you?" Gamma laughs, more pain than joy. "Close, closer than you think." His voice was a ghost dragging chains. Valeth leans forward, desperate. "We saw you fall. You died, Gamma." Gamma exhales, ragged, shaking. "They didn't let me die. They needed what was left." My blood froze. This fortress wasn't just a command center, it was a tomb. Gamma whispers, "They took me below. Conversion pits. I saw children. Gods forgive me." The augment nursery wasn't the beginning. It was the middle of something worse. Valeth staggers backward, sick realization. Valeth looked like a man watching his own grave being dug. I whispered, broken, "Gamma, we destroyed the nursery." Gamma breathed soft relief. "Good. Gods. Good. His relief was purer than prayer. Alarm klaxons intensify, countdown begins on walls. The fortress reacted like a wounded beast, desperation in steel. Gamma's voice grows urgent. Sarah, listen. Lucian, he's not lost. But not yet. I froze, feels like the world stopped breathing. Gamma continues. They broke him, they rebuilt him. But the man is still inside, buried. Closed my eyes, tears unstoppable. Hope is a blade, sharp enough to cut you open from the inside. Gamma whispers violently. You must reach him before the Imperium purges the core. Valeth growls, rage igniting. Where are you, Gamma? We're coming. Gamma's voice fractures. I'm below. Section Delta, near the reactor spine. The choice crashed over me. Save Gamma or stop the purge. Gamma whispers, fading. Sarah, Valeth, finish this. Don't let my death be meaningless. Terminal flickers violently, sparks and smoke. Gamma's voice breaks into static. Tell them, I wasn't afraid. Final words, ghost-like. Forward. The terminal dies. Sparks burst outward. Silence fell like ash. Sarah collapses forward, forehead against console, sobbing silent. I broke not in weakness, but in transformation. Valeth kneels beside her, hand on her back, steady. We finish what he started. I rose slowly, grief burning into resolve. I had lost everything. I had nothing left to fear. Gamma was not gone. He had become the fire inside us. Rebellion did not need armies. It only needed people who refused to kneel. Valeth grips charged detonator and asked, what's the plan? I turned to control core doors. We take the core, we save Lucian. We burn everything else. A rebel whispers behind me, for Gamma. I nodded, tears fallen without hiding them. For Gamma. The lights dim, fortress heartbeat accelerating. I raised my weapon and said, if the dead can still fight, then so can we. Valeth opens explosive charge sequence. Forward. My lips move silently. Rebels step into formation. I point forward. Command given. Move. We surge toward control core doors. We were done surviving. Now we were coming to win. There is a silence that does not comfort, a silence that suffocates, a silence built not of peace, but of absence. I lived inside that silence for so long, I forgot what a heartbeat sounded like, until hers returned to me through fire and blood, until the dead called my name. They built this room like a throne, a god's vantage point. No windows, gods do not need windows. The galaxy bends to them instead. I was their perfect creation, obedience carved into bone, loyalty welded into marrow, identity erased like chalk. Cables run from port in Lucian's spine into control nexus. Everything I was fed through those wires. Orders disguised as truth. Truth disguised as chains. Surveillance screens show bodies in the augment nursery burning, rebels carrying survivors. I watched them turn hell into fire. I watched mercy take the shape of destruction. I watched my sister walk through the smoke like a ghost refusing to lie down. I told myself she was dead. I begged myself to believe it. Death is easier than betrayal. Gamma's static recording replays, distorted, looping inside my skull. Lucian, brother, fight. His voice crawled under my armor like fire under skin. My hands moved, not with discipline, but with tremor. I had forgotten how to tremble. I remembered sound, laughter, the warmth of sunlight on stone, the smell of bread and dust, the world before obedience. My sister placing a wildflower behind my ear, laughing because I blushed. What was the color of that flower? Red? Blue? Why can't I remember? What else did they take from me? A Mechanicus overseer enters chamber, face replaced with augmetics, servo skulls orbiting, he said. Unit L77, emotional disruption detected. Purge and reset? Reset? A polite word for lobotomy? I turned slowly, expression empty but eyes burning underneath, and said, "No." Tech priest tilts head, mechanical lenses whirring. He said, "Clarify. Disobedience detected." I stepped forward, movement predatory, controlled, terrifying. Every cell in my body screamed fight, run, break, scream, but conditioning held me upright like a puppet on steel strings. Tech priest raises shock staff, electricity screaming, and said, "Stand down." I wanted to obey. I wanted to kneel. The chains inside me were buried deep, rusted, but unbroken. But a faint echo of Gamma recording again saying, "Forward." My hand snaps upward, catching shock staff mid-swing. Forward. I crushed the staff, metal screaming. Tech priest in awe said, "Impossible. Nothing is impossible when you have nothing left to lose." I grabbed the priest by throat, lifts him off ground. His neck felt like wires wrapped in skin. Not human, not alive. Just another machine pretending to pray. I slammed him into wall, skull cracking like porcelain. The impact felt like breathing for the first time. Blood runs down wall, slow, thick. He made me forget. I grabbed a data cable and ripped it from his spine, sparks exploding. Pain like lightning swallowed me whole, every nerve screaming rebellion. Lucian collapses to knees, shaking, convulsing. I tasted blood. Mine. Real. Warm. Human. Visions slammed through me. Sarah crying at Gamma's grave. A memory of Sarah saying, "Come back to us." I fisted the floor, roaring through pain. I wanted to. God Emperor, forgive me, I wanted to. A figure enters frame, iron boots storming with purpose. Elite kill team soldiers surrounds me, guns aimed, unit compromised. Terminate. Lucian lifts head, smile twisted with grief and fury. Try. I explode into motion, killing with bare hands, steel fury. I was built for war. They taught me how to kill. They should not have taught me so well. Blood sprays across consoles. Screens flash red. I stand amid bodies, chest heaving. I was alive again. Gamma's voice replays one more time, softer now. Save her. I closed my eyes, breaking completely. I failed them. I failed him. I failed her. Looked to the door where Sarah's approaching, but I would not fail again. I rise slowly, reborn. The Imperium took everything from me. Now I would take everything back. Forward! The alarm shift tone. Fortress initiating purge protocol. I look at override panel, hand hovering. My choice, my hands, my sin, my salvation. Sarah's face flashes again, memory superimposed. I press palm against control rune. For Sarah, for Gamma, for all of us. Massive doors unlock, open in path to confrontation. Steam rushes in, light erupts behind door. I draw my weapon, calm, resolute. I was not a machine. I was not a weapon. I was a brother, and brothers do not abandon the living or the dead. I stepped into corridor. Looking down burning hallway, I saw Sarah's team approaching. Their shadows overlap in the smoke. The universe had one breath left before the world changed. I lowered my weapon, not to fight them. I wait. Tears fall from my eyes silently. A single whisper fills silence. Sarah, I once believed obedience was holy. I once believed silence was survival. I once believed love was weakness. I was wrong. Love is rebellion. Grief is fuel, and hope is the blade that cuts chains. If the Imperium wants monsters, then let them taste the ones they forged. There are moments when time stops, when breath freezes in the air, and the universe waits to see which way you will break. A bullet can end a life. A word can end a world. And sometimes the hardest battlefield is the space between two people who loved each other once and no longer know how to speak. I walked forward as if pulled by a gravity stronger than fear, stronger than grief. My heart felt like a wound trying to beat. Lucian stands alone at far end of corridor, back to her at first, head slightly lowered, and there he was, not a shadow, not a memory, flesh and blood and silence. I raised weapon, hands trembling but steady enough to shoot if I must. My hands shook, but my aim did not. Rage steadied what grief tried to break. Lucian turned slowly, face illuminated by sparks and smoke clouds drifting across light. I turned to face my sister. I did not know if I would live for the next breath, and I did not care. His eyes were not the eyes of a stranger. They were the eyes of the boy who once swore we'd change the world together. Eyes that once held fire, now they held ashes. Valeth and remaining rebels stopped behind me, weapons raised, unsure. No one spoke, no one moved. Even the fortress seemed to hold its breath. Lucian slowly lowers his weapon and lets it fall to the floor. Metal echoes like thunder. "I'm done fighting you." The sound of his weapon hitting the floor felt louder than any explosion. Breath shudders. My weapon wavers but does not lower. "Give me one reason not to kill you." The words tasted like blood and betrayal. Lucian steps forward once, painfully slow, as if every muscle fights itself, and said, "I heard Gamma." My heart stopped. Lucian's face cracks, tears forming but not falling yet. He said, "I wanted to fall to my knees. I wanted to tear my skin open to scrape out everything the Imperium put in me." Sarah lowers gun slightly, eyes wide, terrified to hope. "He's alive," Lucian said. "For now." Hope burned and healed and hurt all at once. Lucian's voice breaks. "Sarah, I'm sorry." 2 words, 2 knives, 2 lifetimes too late. Sarah takes a step closer, shaking violently, weapons still raised. "Then why did you abandon us? Why did you abandon me?" The child in me screamed louder than the soldier. Lucian whispers, every word bleeding, "Because I broke," and breaking felt like drowning in silence. Sarah lowers the gun, not forgiveness, but exhaustion. I wanted to shoot him. I wanted to hold him. I wanted to scream until my voice tore, but I did none of those things. I just lowered the gun, because I could not lift it anymore. Silence swallows everything, heavy and holy. Sarah said, "War teaches us how to hate our enemies, but nothing teaches us how to stop loving the people who become them. There is no weapon sharper than memory, no battlefield more lethal than family." We stood there, 2 survivors drowning in ghosts, not allies, not enemies, not yet forgiven, not yet lost, just broken people standing in the ruins of a future we once believed in. Lucian said, "If salvation exists, it is not written in scripture or steel. It is written in the way someone says your name when they refuse to bury you." And she said mine with trembling breath. "Lucian, brother, human again." Sarah said, "If we were going to die today, we would die together. Forward." They tell stories about underworlds, places where the dead go, where the air burns and the walls whisper, where your sins follow you down every step. We didn't have myths like that anymore. We had something worse. We had the reactor spine. Sarah, Lucian, Valeth, and the remaining rebels standing before a colossal bulkhead that reads, "Reactor access, authorized personnel only." Sarah said. The sign made me want to laugh. Authorized personnel only. We were the most unauthorized things that had ever walked these halls. Valeth quiet, flat. Once we cross this threshold, we are inside the station's heart. No more retreat paths, Lucian said. Good, I thought. Let there be no way back. Valeth's mechadendrites plugging into a lock port, sparks flickering as he force overrides. Valeth moved like someone opening a tomb he'd personally sealed shut. He didn't say it, but I could feel it. He'd walked places like this before, as jailer, never as prisoner. Valeth murmuring binaric, then aloud. Security overrides. Rerouted. Purge protocols are accelerating. We are already late. The blast door grinds open with deafening metal and metal groans, revealing a dark shaft descending into vivid red glow below. Heat breathed out to meet us, dry, metallic, laced with the scent of oil, ozone, and old sins. It felt like the fortress exhaling and asking if we were sure. Lucian soft said, "Stay behind me," Sarah replied. "I'm not a child, Lucian." No, she wasn't. I was the one trying to remember how to be anything but a weapon. Downward staircase, industrial, steep, lit by red warning strobes. The team descends, shadows stretching long. Every step down felt like a choice I couldn't take back. Up there we were rebels. Down here, I wasn't sure what we were. Pilgrims? Executioners? Victims? Sarah's hand trailing along the railing, paint burned off, metal blistered from heat and age. The metal was warm, too warm, like touching the skin of a feverish god. This wasn't just a machine. It was the spine of everything that had hurt us. Lucian walking a half step ahead, armor reflecting red light, his jaw clenched, eyes distant. I knew these levels, not this exact place, but the pattern, the shape, the intent. Reactor access tunnels all smelled the same. Burnt air, ionized dust, old prayers etched into the walls where no one could see them. Places the Imperium never expects anyone to walk willingly. Carved into the wall, a line of embossed sigils, a skull wreathed in circuitry. Beneath it, a tiny, scratched inhuman word, "Sorry." Someone had written a word under one of the holy sigils. Tiny, almost hidden, just a single human apology carved into the sacred machine. Sorry. I wondered what they'd done. I wondered if they'd been converted. I wondered if anyone forgave them. The corridor widens into a cavernous chamber, vertical abyss, reactor spine plunging down like a colossal column of metal and light. Catwalks spiral around it. Then we saw it. The spine. A column of caged lightning, wrapped in steel and prayer seals, plunging down so far that the bottom disappeared into white glare. Every beat of light was another moment this world remained alive, Valeth said. Reactor is at 128% overload. This is insane, Lucian said. Insane is what tyranny looks like when it's afraid. A timer hung over our heads that none of us could see with the naked eye, only through Lucian's implants. 18 minutes before cascade failure. 18 minutes to save Gamma. 18 minutes to decide if this world deserved to live. Side catwalk, servitors still working, half burned, unaware, welding, monitoring data, reciting binary litanies. They were still here. Servitors chained to their terminals, some already burned along one side from heat flare, but still working, still repeating code like prayer. Servitor monotone, plasma flux, nominal, plasma flux, nominal. As red warning lights flash everywhere, they weren't lying. They just believed whatever they were told to speak. Lucian said, "Like I used to." One servitor turns its head slightly toward us. Its mechanical eyes flicker, and for a heartbeat, its human eyes are faintly visible beneath. One of them looked at me. Just a fraction of a second. Just a flicker in dead optics. And I swear I saw someone in there. Trapped. Watching. Sra whispered aloud, "We'll come back for you. Valeth low. We won't have time." He was right. I made the promise anyway. You survive by pretending some lies are temporary truths. Valeth projects a holomap from his mechadendrite, showing levels, junctions, pulsing markers, he said. Gamma's signal is coming from Delta Deep Access. Here. Points to a tiny node uncomfortably close to the base of the spine. That is one level above the raw plasma channel. Temperatures are beyond survivable norms, Sarah said. Yet somehow he's there. Valeth thoughts. I didn't say what I knew, that if he was still alive, it was only because someone wanted him to be. The team begins to move along narrow catwalk hugging the reactor. Beneath us, a drop into blinding light and fire. The catwalk shook under our boots, humming with the vibration of a star in a cage. We walked over a manufactured sun, and I realized we weren't just inside a fortress. We were walking through a weapon pointed at the world. We reach a junction, 3 paths, one downward, one around, one blocked by collapsed debris. Warning sigils glowing, Valeth said. Around is longer, down is faster, but less stable. Debris route is impossible without heavy equipment, Lucian said. We go down, Sarah said. Of course we do. Every part of me wanted to go around. More time meant more chances to think. And thinking was dangerous right now. Downward section, catwalk segments missing, replaced by improvised jumps, broken plating, exposed cables. It stopped being a walkway and became a dare. One wrong step, and you weren't a person anymore. You were ash in a very bright flash. Rebel behind me nervous. I really hate heights, Sra without turning said. So don't look down. Sarah leaping across a broken gap, reactor light blazing under her. I jumped. For a moment there was no fortress, no Imperium, no reactor, no rebellion, just weightlessness. The same feeling I'd had the first time I believed we could win. Then gravity remembered me. She lands hard, rolls, comes up on one knee. Lucian helps pull one of the rebels across, catching them just as they slip. Their fingers slipped from the edge. I grabbed them without thinking. My body moved before my programming could argue. Protect, save, hold. These were not commands. They were instincts trying to grow back. Rebel breathless. Thank you, sir. Lucian said. Don't call me sir. He said it with disgust, but I could hear the shame underneath. We reach a side hatch labeled Delta Deep Access. Warning, core proximity, Valeth said. This is it. Gamma's signal is strongest here, Sarah. My chest hurt, not from the heat. From everything that was about to happen, Lucian said. Forgiveness might wait. The reactor wouldn't. Valeth hacks the hatch. It opens to a wave of burning air. The light inside is hellish orange-white, flickering violently. Heat slammed into us like a living thing. My eyes watered instantly. Breathing felt like inhaling fire dust. Valeth said. Suit seals tight. Plasma vent fluctuations. Stay low. Do not touch anything that glows. Sarah said. What if everything glows? Valeth said. Then we move quickly. Inside Delta Deep, narrow, low corridor, pipes pulsing with light, floor trembling, warning, Auspex runes flickering. This wasn't built for people. It was built for maintenance drones and servitors that didn't complain, didn't sweat, didn't feel their skin cooking from the inside out. We had to crouch to move, armored shoulders scraping hot pipes, every contact a brand. Valeth's Auspex projects Gamma's signal, a flickering dot ahead, labeled Subject, Gamma 77, Status, Critical Integration, Incomplete. He had a designation, like a piece of equipment, like a broken cog that hadn't been recycled yet. Sarah soughed aloud. Hold on, Gamma, we're close, Lucian said. Please be close. Let me do one thing right. They round a bend, stop dead. Ahead, a suspended metal platform over a narrow chasm of raw plasma conduits. On it, a conversion rig, a vertical cradle wired with tubes and cables, silhouette of a body bound into it. We found him, or what was left of him. We don't see Gamma's face fully yet, just his chest rising shallowly. Cables plugged into his spine, skull ports wired to the reactor's data streams. Violet hushed, horrified. They're using his neural lattice as a live adaptive regulator. That's impossible. That's heresy, even for them. They had turned our friend into a fuse, a human mind stretched over molten power, holding insanity together for a few extra minutes at the cost of everything he was. Lucian's face, devastated, guilty. This is what I served. Not order, not justice, not the Emperor. I served this. Lucian hoarse, Gamma. The reactor pulses. Gamma's body jerks in sync. Alarms spike, Valeth said. We can't just rip him out. He's wired directly into Flux's control. If we disconnect him without rerouting, Sarah said. We kill him, Valeth replied. Yes, instantly. There it was, the choice sharpening like a blade again. Save Gamma and risk the world. Save the world and kill Gamma. I hated the Imperium because they made choices like that daily, and now they had given us the same poison. Lucian steps onto the platform slowly, heat distortion shimmering around him. Lucian. Maybe this was what redemption looked like, walking into the furnace you helped build. Sarah helped build. Sar calling after him. Careful. The metals. His boots hiss as they contact the platform, but he keeps walking. He reaches Gamma's side. We finally see Gamma's face, gaunt, burned, half covered in Auspex nodes, but the eyes flicker open. Gamma barely a whisper. Took you long enough, Sarah said. Against everything the logic should have allowed, he smiled. Lucian said, I didn't deserve that smile. Lucian leans close, one hand hovering over a cable interface at Gamma's temple. Lucian voice breaking. We're getting you out. Gamma tiny, strained laugh. Don't make promises. You can't statistically support. Even here. Even now. He joked. Maybe we never deserved him. Valeth scrambles to patch into a side console, mechadendrites flailing. Valeth said, I can reroute, maybe. I can try to transfer load to the subplasma buffers and then, I don't know, bleed it into the outer exchangers. We'll fry half the fortress, but the city might live, Sarah said. And Gamma? Valeth replied, I don't know yet. The machine priest didn't know. That scared me more than any alarm. Alarm overlay. Cascade failure in 0 hours, 12 minutes and 9 seconds. 12 minutes. To save a man, a world, or neither. Sarah at the edge of the chasm, Lucian at Gamma's side, Valeth at the console, Reactor glowing brighter and brighter below. We had come to tear down the machine, and instead we found someone wired into its heart, holding it together with what was left of his soul. The Imperium always said sacrifice was holy. The difference now was simple. For the first time, the choice of who would be sacrificed was ours. There are moments when time stops, when everything narrows to a single breath, a single heartbeat, a single choice. The kind of moment that history forgets, but changes everything. For me, this was that moment. Gamma dying in the belly of a machine built to erase souls, and all I could think was, not again, not another one, not like this. Gamma voice fractured, glitching, barely present. I'm still here, I think, maybe. Hard to tell what's real. Hard to know which memories belong to me and which ones they programmed in. Pain is complicated now. It's everywhere but nowhere. Like trying to scream underwater, Lucian thought. I wanted to tell him he was safe, but I couldn't lie anymore. Lucian grips the metal frame of the conversion cradle, heat visibly rippling around his hand. Lucian, aloud, voice rough. Gamma, look at me, please. Gamma, that voice. I know that voice. I used to listen to him speak and believe him. I think. Valeth at the console, wires snake from his mechadendrites like frantic tentacles, sparks flying as he forces access. Valeth strained, urgent. Urgent. Flux route access failing. Rerouting now. I need time, Sarah said. We don't have time. We were trying to steal seconds from a machine that devoured minutes and spit out bones. Lucian on the platform, Gamma suspended, Sarah at the edge, Valeth at consoles, Reactor blazing beneath. Lucian said, I could feel the heat burning through my armor. The reactor was alive, furious, starving, waiting to consume everything we were. Maybe this was what hell looked like before it learned how to whisper instead of scream. Alarm overlay, cascade failure in 0 hours, 10 minutes and 51 seconds. Reactor pulses violently. 10 minutes. 10 minutes until the world above us turned into a crater full of ghosts. 10 minutes to decide if we were heroes or murderers. Gamma convulses as current surges through his spine, cables pulling taut, sparks exploding from the connection ports. Gamma voice broken, glitching, terrified. No, stop, it burns, I can't. Lucian shouting over the sound. Stay with me. Gamma, listen to my voice, don't let go. Gamma's eyes snap open wide, full clarity for half a second. Gamma aloud, whisper. Lucian, do you remember? The blue. Deep silence beat. Reactor hum falls to a low rumble. Lucian voice, trembling. Yes, I remembered the robe. The blue robe. The last innocent color before the world turned gray and red and iron. Insert memory flash, soft blue fabric blowing in a quiet wind, a woman sweeping a floor. It was the last beautiful thing I saw before they carved the humanity out of me. Gamma held on to it too. That tiny piece of sky they couldn't cauterize out of us. Back in the reactor room, Sarah touches the railing, hands shaking. We weren't fighting machines. We were fighting forgetting. Valeth's face, half human, half machine, open conflict visible for the first time. I once believed perfection meant obedience. That clarity lived only in the quiet after the mind was cut open. But here, in the furnace, I saw chaos burn brighter than any star, and it terrified me. Big view, reactor light flares violently, alarms scream and steel buckling overhead. Valeth said, I can transfer flux, but only if Gamma stays linked. If we disconnect him now, the core detonates, Sarah said. And if we don't, Valeth replied, he burns alive. Lucian's hand closes around the disconnect lever, sweat and oil running down his face. He said, every death I had ever caused pressed into that handle, every order, every execution, every scream. The Imperium told me choice was a burden only the weak feared. But maybe choice was the only proof we were still alive. Gamma's voice weak, fading. Lucian, let me go. Lucian shaking his head violently. No, not again. Gamma says, if I stay, they win. If I die, I choose. Please, don't let them take this too. Sarah steps closer, voice shaking with grief and resolve. She said, Lucian, sometimes saving someone means not chaining them tighter. Pain makes saints out of cowards and cowards out of saints. I didn't know which we were anymore. Lucian closes his eyes. Tears burn and evaporate instantly in the heat. He said, forgive me, Gamma. Forgive me for not being better. Forgive me for surviving. Hand lowering toward release lever. Reactor light swelling white to fill the frame. Lucian's voice whispered, breaking apart. I thought bravery meant killing. I thought loyalty meant silence. I thought purpose meant obedience. I was wrong. Bravery is choosing the pain. Loyalty is telling the truth. And purpose is remembering who we are, even when the world tries to grind us into dust. Gamma voice, soft, fading, peaceful. Thank you for letting me choose. For one impossible second, the world stopped. The alarms fell silent. The reactor held its breath, and Lucian's hand hovered over the lever that could end a life or end a world. We stood balanced on the sharpest edge a soul can stand on, the place where choice becomes destiny. And then, the universe shattered. A blast door above us is ripped open by a massive hydraulic ram. Sparks rain down like burning snow. The sound was like a god tearing steel apart with its teeth. The smell, burning lubricant, blood-hot metal, ozone snapping in the air. It didn't feel like an attack. It felt like judgment. First silhouette steps through the breach, a massive armored figure in cataphracty Terminator armor, plated in black and bronze, visor burning red like a furnace. They sent death in its most deliberate form. Not soldiers, not machines. Executioners. The room shakes under heavy boots as an elite strike squad of Imperium shock Terminators enters, each plated in thick ceramite, bolters raised. Lucian said, I knew these men. trained beside them, watched them kill without hesitation, without doubt, without mercy. The Imperium didn't send warnings, sent certainty. The Terminator captain steps forward, armor covered in purity seals, servo halberd igniting with roaring blue lightning. Captain voice amplified, thunderous. By order of the Imperium Eternal, all unauthorized elements are to be purged, Sarah said. Purge, the word they carved into bones. Lucian freezes, hand hovering over the lever as the reactor glows violently beneath the platform. Lucian voice, fractured panic. I can't pull it now. The whole chamber would ignite. Gamma, Sarah, everyone. Gamma said. Lucian, move. A deafening bolt around slams into the railing inches from Lucian's head, erupting into sparks and shrapnel. Shouting. Down. Bolter fire becomes a thunderstorm in a metal cathedral. They weren't here to negotiate. They weren't here to capture. They were here to erase. Valif's mechadendrites whip into combat mode, shielding the console as he ducks behind a pillar. Vaya yelling over gunfire. If they hit this control node, the reactor goes critical. Hold them back, Sarah's voice. Hold them back. From what? From ending us. From saving us. From deciding for us. Gamma seizes violently. Reactor feedback arcing electricity across the cradle, lighting up the entire room in strobing white. Gamma voice, glitching scream. Stop, please, too much, too hot burning, make it stop. The machine was eating him alive. A rebel is hit full force by a bolter round, body vaporized in a burst of red mist. People don't fall when bolters hit, they cease. Lucian steps between Gamma and the advancing Terminators, shield raised, taking direct fire. Sparks and molten metal sprang off him. He said, I used to think armor made you invincible. It doesn't. It just lets you die slower. Sarah fires back from cover, muzzle flashes reflecting off reactor glass, her breaths ragged, hands trembling but unbroken. Fear is loud, but purpose is louder. And in that moment, purpose drowned out everything else. The captain raises a gravity hammer, its head crackling with raw power like caged lightning. Captain said, Stand down and be cleansed, Lucian snarling. No. The first time in my life I told them no. The captain swings. Lucian catches the blow with his armored forearm, but bones crack audibly under the strike, sparks erupting. He didn't scream. He didn't falter. He just stayed standing. Valathiel's overcomes, screens flashing, cascade failure in 0 hours, 7 minutes, and 13 seconds. If we don't decompress the lower chamber in the next 7 minutes, the core will detonate at 400% overload. Time wasn't running out anymore. It was chasing us. Reactor pulses violently, floor plates buckle, steam jets burst, half the lights blow out. Chaos shakes every frame. Sarah, voice. The choice was gone. The moment was stolen. Its fate didn't wait for us to be ready, and the machine hungered. Gamma voice, fading whisper. Don't let them take me back. Sarah's voice. Sometimes the world ends quietly. Sometimes it ends with a scream. And sometimes it ends with the sound of the ground falling out from beneath your feet. This time, it ended with all three. The Terminator captain swings his hammer again, hitting the platform's structural column. The entire catwalk buckles and splits with a thunderous crack. The fortress groaned like something alive and wounded. Steel bent, the world tilted, and gravity stopped feeling like a law and more like a suggestion. Lucian is thrown off balance, sliding toward the edge, sparks scraping under his boots. Sar shouting, Lucian, hold on, Lucian voice. Not again, not falling, not this time. Sarah dives and grabs his forearm, fingers locking desperately around his gauntlet, heat burning both their hands. I caught him. For 1 second I caught him. For 1 second we were stronger than gravity. Gamma screams as electricity arcs through his body, exploding circuitry and sending concussive blast waves through the chamber. Gamma voice, fragmented, broken. Let go, please. Let go. The reactor pulses violently. White-hot light bursts upward like a column of lightning, vaporizing the far catwalk, throwing bodies aside like rags. The sun erupted beneath us. Every shadow became fire. Every heartbeat became thunder. Valeth slams emergency controls, blast doors slam down section by section, sealing compartments through force and explosive bolts. Valeth screaming over alarms. Structural collapse is cascading. We need to split the chamber before we all die. Sra horrified. And oh wait, he wasn't choosing safety. He was choosing survival. They weren't the same thing. The Terminator squad fires grapnels and withdraws up through the breach, leaving only the captain behind to finish the purge. Captain said, "Glory to the Imperium." He charges. Lucian pushes Sarah away from the edge, spinning to face the captain weaponless, stance broken but unyielding. He said, "If something was going to break, let it be me." Lucian allowed, quiet steel. "Come then." The captain's hammer slams into the platform again. The entire structure collapses, splitting like fractured stone over molten light. The platform splits. Sarah catapulted upward. Lucian and the captain thrown downward into the reactor abyss, Gamma's cradle tearing loose and falling with them. Sra screamed. "Lucian's name tore out of me like something breaking free from a cage in my chest." Lucian falls in slow motion, reaching upward towards Sarah as white-hot light engulfs him. Lucian said, "I'm sorry." Gamma's cradle plummets beside him, sparks, cables flailing, his eyes locked on Lucian. No fear, only quiet acceptance. Gamma voice, soft, peaceful. "It's all right." The blast door slams shut between Sarah and the abyss, metal ceiling with a deafening slam. Sarah, voice. The sound of that door closing felt like the universe ending. Absolute silence. Sarah on the floor, hands bloody from gripping metal, staring at the sealed door like it might speak. Sarah voice, hollow, numb. He was gone. They were gone. The world didn't explode. And for a moment, I wished it had. Valeth collapses beside a console, breathing hard, sparks raining, alarms cutting out completely. Warning blink on holodisplay. Reactor load diverted, cascade pause, status unstable. Valeth voice, I saved the world, and I might never forgive myself. Sarah slams her fist into the blast door, leaning her forehead against it, voice breaking. I came to save him, and I lost him twice. Sarah's reflection distorted across the metal, eyes burning, tears evaporating instantly. Sra, rising. This isn't over. If he's alive, I will find him. If he's dead, I will burn the Imperium to its foundations. Either way, they will learn fear. Smoke and steam swallow Sarah as red emergency lighting flickers back on. She lifts her weapon slowly, eyes forward, face hardened into something unbreakable. Sar, voice. The machine took everything from us. Now we take everything back.